find your own voice, lead from within. With me today, I am with Grant Morel and Amanda Murray. How are you guys?
We both
Why
did.
are you all not
We both
talking?
did.
Thumbs up.
Yeah.
That was not
Okay, how
rehearsed.
are you
That was not
guys?
rehearsed.
We're good.
I'm sure the audience would like to hear your voices. So the topic, guys, today is clarity is the key. Have you ever felt stuck, confused, uncertain about your next step in life? Many people believe they need more money, more opportunities, and more connection to move forward, but often what they truly need is clarity. Clarity is the key that unlocks confidence, directions, purpose, and success. When your vision is clear, your decisions become easier. When your purpose is clear, your path becomes stronger. Today, let's talk about what clarity is the key to living a life of purpose and fulfillment. Over to you, Grant. You chose this topic. Could you please explain to our audience what was the motivation behind the topic today?
What was the motivation? The motivation was that I was a little unclear on something earlier in the week. I had a rough couple of days. Monday and Tuesday, I had some things happen which really pulled me off my perch, put me off my focus, pulled me off my best performance. And frankly, I felt very down for a couple of days. Got some messages about things which really confused me, didn't make sense, blah, 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 blah. And what was it? And after that, I made a call. The person who gave me the message, frankly, didn't really give me the full message and delivered it quite poorly. I was confused, disappointed, upset. When I sought clarity from somebody else, a chance conversation with somebody else about they had a slightly similar situation. And I was like, what is wrong with these people? And I messaged them and said that. They told me their scenario. And I said, I suppose you've heard about X. And they said, what? And I told them, they said, yeah, no, it's not quite like that. And they explained the situation to me, which allayed my fears. I said, no, it's not that at all. What it is, and I said, oh, that makes a lot more sense. That makes me feel better. And I wish I'd have known that sooner, because that clarity, which I wasn't given at the beginning, has made me feel a lot better about the situation. So if I felt 80% bad, I now only feel 15 to 20% bad. It's way, way, way better than I thought. Now I have the context. Now I have the clarity. I thought, well, yeah, I mean, I know this anyway, but clarity is the key, isn't it? Because we worry about an awful lot of things which often aren't even true. So clarity is wonderful. Even when I coach people, and I will be speaking to some later this afternoon, it'll be a strategy call, a discovery call, where we'll be discovering where they are in life, in business now, where they want to be in life and business, where they're stuck in the middle, what's stopping them. And they often think the problem's this or that. Sometimes they're right, often they're not, but I can detect really what the problem is, shine a spotlight on it and say, that's the problem there. That's what we need to fix. And this is the reason why. And they go, right, thank you. Even though they still have the problem, they're quite happy because at least the fog has cleared. They have clarity on exactly what's broken, what needs fixing, and how we can fix it. And that clarity is often a great thing to give. And then, of course, I can follow up and give them the tools or the service they need to fix it. But just having clarity alone means that they can find success, they can find the routes to happiness, and they have a path. We can map out a plan for them to follow. And that's wonderful. And that all comes from that keyword, clarity. So, yeah, that's why I think that clarity is the key. Amanda, what about you?
I love this because I think sometimes people are looking at this end goal always, right? It's like our end goal and they have clarity on the end goal, but they don't necessarily have clarity on how to get there. And I just saw this thing the other day that was like, you don't need to know everything, you just need to know the next step. And if you have clarity just on like the next step of what it is that you have to do, then that's like beginning to open the doors to like that end goal or something that you've envisioned for yourself later on in life. And I think too, when we're looking at like that clarity piece, it could be like when you're at a crossroads, right? So maybe I don't know what was going on in your life, Grant, but maybe there was something where it's like you're at a crossroads and you just don't know what to do. Like, if you're a young person, it might be like, do I go to university, or do I go get work experience, or do I go travel for a year, right? When you have like an ending to something, sometimes there's like that lack of clarity of like what it is to do next, what it is that you should do next. And so sometimes I think like you have to trust your intuition and just know that like the right thing will show up for you and guide you along the way, but also know that even if you divert down the wrong path for a little bit, you can always shift back and get back on a better path with more clarity. But sometimes you need to take those steps and realize like, oh, that's maybe something I don't actually want to do. Because I know when I was younger, I either wanted to be a teacher or a lawyer. And then I went to school, all of my careers, like before my career stuff before going to university was all basically around teaching because I taught swimming lessons, I worked at summer camps, I taught water skiing and wakeboarding, like everything that I've ever done basically revolved around teaching. But I was really interested in the law too, so I took a political science degree. And then I took my teaching degree, and then my plan was to like go back to law school eventually. And at the time I had this boyfriend who was going through law school, and I would read all of his papers and like read some of the stuff that he had to do, and I was like, this is so boring. I never want to do this. Like, I think maybe at the time too, I was just so done with school because I'd already been in school for like my political science degree and then my teaching degree. And I was like, I need a break from school. But then eventually I went into teaching, and I loved teaching, and then I decided to do my master's in education rather than go back to school and go to law school. And when I look at it now, I'm like, I really do love teaching, but there are times in my life where I still wish I had gone to law school. And there is that like lack of clarity there because there are things that I wish I knew around the law with certain things that have shown up in my life. And so that at those points in time, I'm like, oh, I wish I had gone to law school. But overall, for the most part, I'm like, I think I'm exactly where I'm meant to be working with the children because like I just really love working with kids. I mean, the pay for a lawyer would be a lot better. But for my like level of happiness and work-life balance and to be a single mom and be able to like be home with my kid on the same times off that she has off, like it's just like the perfect career for me, even though at that time when I was young and trying to decide what to do, there was some lack of clarity for a while. And then like my work, my careers, my jobs that I had like definitely pushed me down the path of becoming a teacher versus becoming a lawyer, even though I'm still really interested in like how the law works and all of those things. So I think sometimes it is just like if you have lack of clarity, look around at like what is showing up in your life and where do you feel the most happy and what is it that's the most fulfilling pieces of your life, and then like allow that to guide you into clarity. What do you think?
Yeah, I think you're right, Amanda. I like when Grant shared his example of the story how he was confused with something, and then he had a chat with someone, and he got clarity through the situation he was going through. And also, Amanda, your story, sometimes you just have to, you said sometimes you have to take those steps so that you can have clarity of where you want to go. I think knowing who you are, that's where clarity begins with your identity. Before you know where you are going, you must understand who you are. And many people get confused because they're trying to become what others expect them to be. They follow trends, they copy others, and they seek approval. But deep inside they feel disconnected from themselves. I always ask my family when there's jobs going in UK, when they're like applying for everything, and I'm like, do you actually know what do you really want in life? Because when you know who you are, you become grounded. You stop allowing people's opinion control your direction. You stop shrinking yourself to fit into spaces that you were never designed for your purpose. And all those things, they are very, very important. And also, who you have to understand, who are you when no one is clapping? uh, what do you truly believe about yourself? What value guides your life is what is really, really important. And your identity, also understand that your identity is not built by noise. I said to Amanda what I was doing, but there was so much noise that was going on. But I had to tell myself that whatever I'm doing, my identity is not built by people's noise. It is important for me to discover my true inner being through prayer and reflect and have courage to go on and do the things that I want to do. Through that process, I had to be clear who I am as a person. Who do I want to become? And then I had to stop becoming harder to myself. And then I had to ease the path for me so that I can direct myself and just have a strong decision about where I'm going, where I need to be. And that is not really, really easy when there is so much noise, when people are talking too much. So you just have to know who you are and what's your purpose, where do you want to go, and have a clarity like a grant. He had clarity in the end. For me, I had to have clarity of the results, what I wanted and why I was doing what I was doing. So that I think that is really, really important. Over to you, Grant.
Sorry. Yeah, like you're saying, what is your purpose? And that's the key thing. If you reflect upon it. Now, this is kind of interesting because when I got the clarity, I sat there and I thought, why am I upset? Why am I so upset by this? Why I really got triggered. And I'm like, hang on, I'm the coach guy, right? Yeah. Why am I got really triggered? I
The
mean,
coach
that's the
guy.
thing. Being a coach, you're not immune to this stuff. It's just you have more tools to catch it and say, hey, what's going on here? You realise that I'm off balance here. This is not me. What's triggered me? Is it this thing? What's the pattern? Okay, you can go down 1,000 routes with that. But I looked at it and I thought, that can't be right. What I've heard, it doesn't make sense. That cannot be true. That cannot be. And is it my ego getting in the way? Is it this? And I thought, no, it's not. It just as an investigation in my mind, like, that cannot be true. That does not make sense. I need to seek clarity on this because I need to close the loop. That doesn't make sense. That that can't be the right picture. There's got to be some false information there. That's not right. Let me dig into that. Are you sure they got this right? Anyway, and I looked into it. I thought, is there a lesson for me to learn? Is there something to improve upon? Is there a lesson? What is this I'm looking for? And when I got it, no. It wasn't that. It came from somebody else. What it was, and I'm like, now that makes perfect sense. So it wasn't about me. No. It wasn't about you. It was about the situation, not about you. And like, okay, so it's moved from me. And then it was when they explained what it was, I said, yeah, I'm surprised that wasn't a problem more sooner. Because I flagged this up a long time ago. It was me who flagged it up. It could be a problem a long time ago. Like, it's that. So what helped me to reflect upon it was, if I'm losing this thing, what was that giving me that was so important then? And I looked at it, and it was giving me something beyond which it appears to be on the surface. And I thought, ah, so that's what I'm really upset about losing. That. and not the main thing, but the part that the thing represents and not the main thing itself. Right. It's cloaked. That's what I'm missing about it. And why do I miss that? And then I thought about it. I thought, well, I was thinking of doing a different version of this anyway for myself. That's it. But here's the funny thing. Here's the funny thing. It was something I was going to be doing, and it's not one of the movies, by the way. They're still going ahead. That's all good. Um, but a colleague of mine, 2 days before, said, "I want you to do this thing first. I want you to do this sort of podcast thing first, and it's going to be at this time of the week." And I'm like, "Can't do it. I'm always busy at that time of the week." Well, that's the very thing that's going to come to an end. 2 days later is the very thing that was causing the obstacle to the other opportunity. I'm like, oh, so that's going to disappear, and which will leave the door open for this. So it's not all bad at all. And the timing for that is amazing. Amazing. So it allowed me to do some deep reflection on why that thing upset me in the first place. And of course, why it upset me was false information. It wasn't even correct. When I got the real information, that hasn't hardly upset me at all. Then I realized it was something which I flagged up as a potential problem a long time ago and no one listened. Then, after all of that, it made me realize that there was some emotional thing I was getting from that, which I can easily replace elsewhere. And it also, by that falling to one side, has left the door open for another opportunity, which I had to say no to the other day because I couldn't do it because it was a time clash. And now it's not a time clash and I can do the other thing, which will actually probably work out better for me. So, all in all, it's probably a very good thing. But I only know that through seeking clarity.
I like that, how you're seeking that clarity out, right? And sometimes it is what you said, where you just like talk it out with a friend or like with a colleague or somebody that
Yeah,
you admire, that you look up to, and you're like, how can I get more clarity in this area? And I always think about that quote, I think it's by like Jim Rohn or something, and it's like you're a combination of the people that you surround yourself with.
absolutely.
If you want to
Absolutely.
know where your life's going to be in 10, 15 years, look at who you've surrounded yourself with, because that's a pretty good indicator of what you're going to be like, because you are a product of who you surround yourself with. And I always come back to that as like, okay, if I need clarity in this area, who am I going to go to that's really good in this area, that has knowledge, that can be a good at guiding me. So one of the things I've been struggling with clarity is like, I was in a car accident, and so I got like money from the payout for it, and I'm like, what's the best thing to do with this money? So I've been like seeking out all of the people that I know who are really good with money or invested well, or um who have like, who are really intelligent with this, who don't have an ulterior motive. Because like if I go to the bank, they're just going to say, oh, put it in this mutual fund, right? But then they're making money off my money, and so, and then you're paying like MER fees and all of these things. And so what I've been doing is I've been like, okay, I'm going to seek out all of the people I know and have conversations with them, and then put together all of that information that I've gathered, and then decide what's best for me. Because what's best for this other person might not be what's best for me, even though I'm still going to seek out what their suggestions would be. And
Yeah.
so I've like talked to like two different banks. I've talked to like three different friends who are really good with money. And I'm like still trying to process what it is that I need to do. And one of the things that is I'm going to take this course called Investing with the Best. And so like that's my like clarity, is I'm like, okay, once I take this course in the summer, then I'll have more guidance of what it is that I need to do, and then decide. And so some of it is just like, who are you going to seek out that will help you get clarity in that area, right? Because I could be like, well, is it best for me to like buy a rental property, right? Like, would that be the best use of my of the money that I got? Or is it best to invest in the stock market? Is it best to invest in mutual funds? Is it best to just go have fun? No, I'm just kidding. I am going to take a little bit of it and go have fun and go on a trip this summer. But there is that like piece of clarity when like if you seek out people who are really knowledgeable in all of those areas, then that clarity will eventually come, even
Right.
if you have to get advice from like multiple people. And I think it is good to get advice from multiple people because it will help you really iron out what it is that you want and what it is that you're looking for and how it is that you're going to grow in that area.
Good. 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 I like that. Yeah.
I like that, Amanda, that you're seeking guidance to have a clarity of where you need to, what you need to do, because you, number one, you understand your values, and which is that's why you are following all these guidelines. Now, I also like Grant that he also explains that he was asking himself, what lesson am I learning here? Asking himself questions and seeking clarity, and having also acknowledging that actually I have people that I trust in my life that can guide me through what I'm going through. And that's why it's really, really important to understand your values. Your values are the principles that guide your decision. And when you understand your values, the people that around you, they are able to help you and to guide you through life when things are unclear, so that you don't say yes to things that drain you or things that distract you or things that pull you away from your purpose. But when your values are very, very clear, you know what matters most. And for me, that's really, really important because being honest and having peace, family love, excellent discipline, integrity, service, growth, and purpose is really, really important, which is Amanda is what she's seeking at the moment. She's seeking growth so that she can find somebody that can guide her through because she understands who she represent as a person. And when you understand who you represent, you begin to choose opportunities, you begin to choose the habits and goals that align with your purpose, and align with who you are becoming as a person as well. And I just love when you guys, both of you, talks about uh, the clarity grows when your life matches your values, because your values is very, very clear. Like, even though we are coaches, it shows that we are human beings, but it is our values that set us apart, and knowing who you are that help us to define what we truly want and where we need to go in life. So thank you so much for sharing your personal story. Grant, over to you.
Right. Thank you. No, you're welcome. And it's all about transparency, being transparent with other people, being transparent with yourself about things. Uh, and again, it brings it back to the word that you said, Nomsa, the purpose. You know, it helps you realize what your purpose is. And this will be probably the third time I've said this in about 24 hours, is that when I'm advising people and when I'm advising myself too. It's when you look at these things and you ask, oh, what decision shall I make about something? If you, this is why it's important in a company to have your values. This is why it's important in a company to have your mission statement and to have your vision statement. It's because it's the documents of truth. So if you get lost, what shall I do? What's my priority? What decision do I make? If you just take yourself back to the company values, the company mission statement and the vision statement, if you look at that, that's what you promised to deliver, your charter to the world, if you will. And if you go back to that, you can't go too far wrong. It will help to keep you online with your purpose. And as I said, passion is a great, great thing. Passion's a great igniter. It starts you and gets you going. But purpose is the thing that keeps it going. Purpose, our sense of purpose, often outlives us and stays around as a legacy. And that's a very powerful motivator. I've used before the analogy of setting fire to paper, wood, and coal. Paper is very quick and easy to ignite, but easily burns out. Wood takes a little bit longer, but then again, it stays alight longer. Coal, on the other hand, takes a while to get going. It does take a while to get going, but once it heats up, it retains the heat and radiates the heat for a long time, and it's difficult to go out. That's like your purpose. So purpose is super, super important. And in our personal life, we should know our values, our morals, our things we would, what I call our non-negotiables. I will do this, I will do that, I will do that. But under no circumstances will I ever do that. Like something immoral, illegal, or unethical. No, not doing it. I've had opportunities to do unethical things. I'm like, no, not for me. Thank you. You can keep the millions. I ain't doing it. My sense of values and and knowing who I am and I'm a good human being is far more valuable than that to me. Thank you very much. But of course, we all have our own morals. We all have our own values. And I can only talk about mine. I can't talk about anyone else's. Everybody has them. But as long as you're playing by yours, you will not go too far wrong. And that helps to keep you on track. So if something does push you a little bit off track, if something does make you wobble off balance, if you stick to your code of honor, if you will, to yourself, this is the way you roll, this is the things you'll do, things you won't do, not egotistically, this is ethically. If you work at things like that and the way you want to live your life, if the decision violates them, you will not be happy. So live by your rules and you will live a happy life. And you have to do that by having clarity on what they are in the first place. If you don't have them, sit down, spend a bit of time. If you need to know more about that, get in touch with us and we'll walk you through it. Okay. But that's the way I see that. And it keeps you on track, which is beautiful because then you feel aligned with yourself and true to yourself. Then you respect yourself. And that's what I feel like saying.
I wonder, Nomsa, when you were working with your clients around on like relationships, because that's your job, right? That's your business is like helping people with relationships. And so it's when you're speaking with them or talking with them about like what it is that they're looking for and qualities of a person, how do you help them find clarity in what they're truly looking for? Because I think sometimes there's like deeper questions that you need to ask in order to really find out what type of person that person is looking for and like what values it is. And I know for myself, what like I'm looking for is alignment. Are we aligned in like all of these different areas? And if we are, then like we'd probably be a good fit. And if we're not, then it's like probably not ever gonna work. So like it's not worth it. But like, what is it that you help people like do to find real clarity on what it is that they're looking for in a like partner or in Grant, even if in your work with like maybe a business partner or something that you help people really find clarity, like what questions do you find that help them get that clarity that they need in order to be able to like feel confident in the direction that they're going. I know for myself with like teaching is like what is it that I can spark kids' imaginations with? And what is it that I can like hook them in on? Because all kids' interests are so different. And so what one kid absolutely loves, another kid's going to be like, that's boring and I hate it. And so like, how do I help kids find clarity on what their interests are, but also help them to understand that everything that we do in school might not be super interesting for you, but hopefully we'll find something or a few things that you really, really love so that when you get a little bit older, you might want to hyper focus in that area and then you'll feel really fulfilled and like know what you want to do because you're like, I'm just so interested in this area. Like I have kids that come into school and they're like, I love dinosaurs, right? Like that's their passion. And I have another kid who's like, building all of these different 3D printed things all the time and bringing them into class because his passion is technology and he's like gets so into any tech stuff that we do, but like writing is not his thing. And then another little girl that I have, like she loves to write and writes and writes and writes and writes and writes. And so her favorite day is when on our literacy center rotations is like the free write day. She's like, oh, I love free write. Whereas like 90% of my class is like, I hate free write day. I don't want to write. I want to do book club or I want to do the Epic or I want to do IXL, like their favorite day of our station rotation is very different than that one girl's. And so I think like knowing too, like who you truly are, you don't have to like the same things as your friends, right? And I have like three boys in my class that are like love math. That is their favorite time of the day, where I probably have about 10 children who loathe math. And so like I'm like those kids that I loathe math, I'm like, how do I make it more exciting for them? But the kids that like love math, it's like, how do I push them to like really get a deeper understanding because they're already so great in math. And so and they just love it. Like they would do math all day if they could.
Wow.
And so other people, when someone's like, "Oh, I love math," I know they get that like internal cringe inside of them. But there are truly children out there who absolutely love math and like can't wait to do it later, which I think is bizarre because I would rather do art or drawing or technology stuff, but like that is their passion. And so finding that, how do you help people find that clarity on either like what it is that they're looking for in a partner or what it is that they're truly looking for fulfillment in their lives?
Yeah, you can
For
answer that
me,
one,
for
Nomsa.
me is finding the story behind that person, right? Getting to the bottom of the story, who they are, who they represent, where do they come from, who is their parents, their childhood, how were they raised, when they are working now, are they working in their own path or are they just following everybody else? So I think it's really, really important. Mostly, if you want to find love for someone, if you want to help them, is to understand the story behind them. And because most of the time they come and tell you what they are looking for is not what they are looking for. So for me, it's always money. They want a guy that is aligned with what they are earning. That's the top one anyway. When a client comes to you anyway, that's what they tell you. That Nomsa, I'm tired of um finding these guys that I have to look after them myself. I end up supporting them, or the man will be like a woman ends up being a nightmare and stuff, and me, I don't have time. I've got work and things like that. So now they're like, I need, like, if someone is a doctor, I need someone who is a lawyer or who is a doctor. And then, okay. And they're like, okay, I've got this much, this house that I have. I've paid off my mortgage. I've paid off this. So I need someone that is in that situation. Okay. Uh, uh, I need someone. So I'm like, you're telling me about the material things, but you've not really, what's your desire from a man or from a woman? So now I have to ask you, I have to go behind. Where did you grow up? Education wise, how much education that person they have? How were they like their parents? Are the parents married or not married? You got to understand that. Where do parents come from? Or do they come from the same culture or different cultures? How was that person raised? Did they divorce? We find that the parents, they are living an amazing life. They're not coming from divorced family, but they just following everybody else because of social media. They've lost their identity. So you have to bring them back to their identity of who they are before you can match somebody else. They understand who they represent, what's their identity, their purpose in life. Once you understand that, you bring them all together, because having a degree, it will not bring me a husband. Earning good money, it will not bring me a husband. Divorcing, marrying a wrong person, divorce is very costly. So I first need to understand what I'm looking for. Then I need to understand what kind of a woman that actually do I desire to align. Like you said, Amanda, the alignment is really, really important. So it's fine to align with everybody else, but everything comes down to your values, the alignment that you have said as well. You are a teacher. So what kind of a person will be aligned with you? If you date a narcissist or date someone who is controlling, that will put you off distraction when you're teaching the kids. So you just need no nonsense. You
Yeah.
just need
Oh,
proper alignment. No
yeah.
nonsense. Someone who knows what they want, who have suffered enough to say enough is enough. I'm looking for a woman to marry and to have a better life, to enjoy life. You have Ellie. Ellie, she's how old?
She's 15.
Yeah, so you probably you don't want to have more children, or some people they do. Yeah, so you want that person that in that stage that don't want to have more children, aligned with you. They just want to enjoy, go on holiday, whether they have their own children as well. But no drama, no complication, just someone who's got no more problems like you, and just work with them. And those are the things that you just need to
Mm.
understand from a client. And also, if they were married before, how did that marriage end? Some people were abused. Did they get any coaching after the abuse or healing? Did they go through healing? They might need to go for coaching, and that's when you all lot come in. And if they need coaching, you say go coaching. But sometimes some people they're like, Nomsa, can you coach me? But if they allow them to go to other people, that's when you have to take over to coach them.
Mm.
So the process is not that simple, because there's no point in charging someone, taking someone's money, and they go and find someone, you find them someone, and then they come back again, they say, oh, the relationship didn't work out. There's no point. Over to you, Grant. How do you work with your client?
How do I work with my clients? Definitely getting to know them. Definitely getting to know them. I want to know not just about the business. I want to know about their life. I want to know how they got to be where they are, what drives them in life, what's important, how they want their life to be. Yeah, to talk about their business, that's all well and good. But do you want to work 90 hours a week to do it? Do you want to be able to do an international travel, or do you need to be home at 2 p.m. every afternoon to pick up your kids? It makes a wildly different route to success. You can all be successful in different ways. It just depends the way you're willing to do it and what sacrifices they're willing to make, or how they're willing to pivot their life. As I've said before, some people might say, I don't care, I'll work 7 days a week for 2 or 3 years to get this thing set up and sell it. Then I'll move on and work 40 hours a week. Okay, I get that. Or some people say, I can do 4 hours a day and that's it. Okay, I can work on that. But I've got to take my kids to school, do all that kind of stuff. And I kind of got that window between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. Okay, I get that. So let's work on that. Um, so it's about knowing their life, how they want their life to look, how they want their life to feel, what the values are. There you are again. What's the values in their life? How to do it. And it's much the same with dating and coaches. Like you said, how do you want to live? And when we get to dating, often some people say, "Oh, I've got my." I said before, the list of how I want people to be. My partner. Oh yeah, how's your? And out it comes. Out comes that shopping list. No, 3 pages long. They've got to be this. They've got to be a fantastic lover. They've got to be that. They've got to be financially secure. They've got to They've got to this. Fantastic. And they're like animals, and they like frogs, and they like that. Right. Okay. And like, are you all these things? I'm like, well, no, but I'm like, okay. So you're here, you want that, and you think that's going to be attracted to that. No, you've got to level yourself up. That whole thing, and someone said, I just want to meet a rich, successful man. Do you know how to do it? I'm like, yeah, I do. I know a really good way to do it. So you won't like the answer. What's it? Become a rich, successful woman. Because rich, successful men are not stupid. That's how they got rich and successful, unless they're a criminal. Right? Yeah, they're pretty smart. Right? So the best way for you, and again, the danger is if someone, becomes that trophy wife. Oh, you're going to get older. They're going to get older, but like the car, they don't keep their car forever. They trade it in. And if you was ever that trophy, you're going to get traded in, and then you have nothing much. And they'll have good lawyers. They'll be smart. So it's a very short-term strategy what you're playing. Better to level up your own playing field and get good and meet them as a peer, as a mutual respect. Then you'll find the right person, and then you'll stay with them. And it works the other way around as well. A very, very, very good friend of mine years ago, one of the most enigmatic ladies I've ever met in my life. No, I did not fall in love with her. I fell in love with her as a friend. A wonderful, but she attracted men like nothing else because of her energy. She had the most amazing energy. She was a very short little lady, but you could feel her presence in a room. Like, who's that? You could feel someone walk. Amazing woman, really beautiful, beautiful energy. And she used to say, Grant, you can do anything in life, anything. And I was always interested in this kind of stuff. It's before I officially got into it a little bit. But she said, you can do anything in life, because she did anything in life. She had the most amazing charm life. And I gave her once, we was watching TV and near Christmas, and there was a liqueur was advertised on TV. Said, oh, I fancy getting that. And I thought, I'll buy it for her for Christmas. And I bought her this bottle of liqueur, and it came in a really nice presentation box with a ribbon around it. And I could see what she thought, right? And I came up, da, 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 da. Here you are. And I gave her that. She went, oh my God, what is it? I said, it's just a little gift. Oh my God, you bought me something. I said, and it had this ribbon on it. I said, oh my God, is it a key? I said, a key to what? Have you bought me an apartment? I said, no, I have not bought you an apartment. No. Oh, I'm sorry. No, it's just a little simple. What is it? She went, oh, I wanted this. This is fantastic. I said, oh, I'm sorry, it's not an apartment. She said, oh, it doesn't matter. I said, I've got lots of them. I said, have you ever bought an apartment before? She said, yeah, quite a few times. It's quite common for people to buy her an apartment. And she,
Really?
yeah, all right. But not because she went after rich men. She was a rich woman. It was kind of normal to do them. Like she said, oh, I'm happy today. I said, why? She said, oh, I've won money on horse racing. And I said, oh, yeah. How much did you win? She said, oh, £16,000. And I'm like, £16,000? How much did you put on? She said, oh, no, I didn't like bet on the winnings. I said, well, she said, my friend says something about horses and I should go into this horse thing. I own half a racehorse. She mixed in those circles, and that was kind of normal. And she said to me once, I didn't buy something, and she assumed I had no money. She said, do you need money? Do you need a few £1,000s? I can just give it to you if you want. Very generous. So she gave and she received. She gave and received. Very normal. And she said, anything you ever want, just come to me. I'll give it to you. She's a beautiful lady. And I don't think I ever had more than a drink off her. We were just lovely, lovely person. But she came from a wealthy family. Now, this is mindset. So everything was possible. And everything is possible if you put yourself in the right position.
Indeed, Grant, that's true.
Yeah. But I can't emphasize enough to the world how amazingly simple it was for her, because she never saw any obstacle. Yeah, she come from a money family. I get that. And that's part of the reason she didn't see an obstacle, because there really weren't any. She kept life simple. She loved people. And it was now, this is where it went wrong. She married an English guy, actually, who didn't have a good education, didn't really have a career. She had all the money, right? But they loved each other dearly, 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 dearly. And she said we had the most free, loving relationship imaginable. Now, this is hard to imagine, right? And His family loved her. Everybody loved her. She's just most beautiful people I've ever met. I mean, as energy, just incredible. If you could capture that and put it into a bottle and sell it, you'd be a multimillionaire because it was just electric. I was driving through Piccadilly in London one day with a member of my staff, and I thought of her. Next thing, she walked in front of the car. And bip, bip, hey, in Piccadilly. You could pick up on her energy. She was like radiated stuff. She was special. But this husband she had was great. And he said, look, you know what? I kind of feel bad. I haven't got any money. I kind of want to get my own career. And she, okay, go. She paid for him to go and do a degree in business or something. And he got this job. And he got this job on the other side of the world. And she said, go do it. That's fine. And she said, I know you're going to sleep with other women. And he said, no, 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 no. He said, no, no. I know you're going to sleep with other women. That's fine. But just don't fall in love. So this is, you see what a free spirit she was in her mind. I mean, most people just couldn't do it. Yeah, I know you're going to do that. You're a man. You need to have sex. But like, don't fall in love. And the housemaid would pick up the phone and say, oh, I hope you're looking after my husband. Blah, blah. And she said, I know you're probably sleeping with her, but remember, don't fall in love. She said, no, I'm not sleeping with her. Da, 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 da. Well, it came to the trip coming home. She went to the airport and the family always pick her up. She got to the airport and the family weren't there. His family weren't there. Phoned. Is everything okay? Has there been a car accident on the way to the airport? Didn't turn up to it. Long story short, she goes to the house and they're all waiting outside. What's up? She said, and he comes out. He said, oh, I can't be with you anymore. He'd fallen in love with the maid that he was sleeping with. What she said to me was, it broke her heart because she gave him everything. And she said, we had a beautiful relationship. We really did. And she was so free spirited. But unfortunately, it just went wrong. It's such a shame because her mind and her spirit was so beautiful. And it's always caused a dichotomy in my mind. And she said to me, I'm going to marry you again. She said, but that divorce cost me £800,000. And she said, I'll marry again. And I hate to say it, but I'm never going to marry a man who has less money than me. And it was such a shame for me to hear her say that. I completely understand where she's coming from, but it was such a shame to see that beautiful free spirit had to be altered by that
But
situation.
she was wrong though, Grant. She asked for that divorce. When you are married to someone, you don't allow them to sleep with another woman. God does not.
I'm of the same thought of you, Nomsa, but but all I'm saying is I'm applauding her free mind to be able to think in that way. I'm not saying it's right, but what kind of a person can actually say, it's okay, I get it, but just come back to me, as long as that's just physical. I mean, that takes some level of thinking and self-belief and confidence. I know you can say it's delusional, but if you met this lady, she was just a beautiful person to learn from. And she doesn't really know it, but
She's still alive.
yeah, I can't find her. I've tried to find her. I've tried to find her. I've had people try to. I know kind of where in the world she was, and I kind of know what she does. And I couldn't find her because I really wanted to find her 25 years later. Say, do you remember me? And I always talk about you. You was
I'm sure you
incredible.
will find her. Now you have spoken about her, you will find her.
I wish I could because every now and then she pops up in my mind, and she's such a special person. And I reiterate, no, I did not fall in love with her. Lots of
Even on social media, you've not been able to find her?
no, no, no. But a wonderful, wonderful lady. Uh, God, if you know her, she's married a guy called Colin. Her dog's name is Kantik. She used to be known as Ishima. Ishima. And
So you've not been able to find her through even online, Grant?
no, trust me, I've looked, and I used to do a lot of investigation work, and I couldn't find her, and I had to do that. But the saga goes on.
I'm sure you'll bump into her now your
I
spirit
hope so,
has
because she's a
spoken to.
wonderful person. I'd love to share her the world because she's a lovely, lovely soul, and she can teach a lot of people how to live. Yeah. Yeah, so
Amanda, do you have any words of encouragement before you go?
Yeah, I think that if you are seeking clarity in some area of your
Oh,
life,
I tell you who you can ask to find. Pastor Henry.
yeah,
um,
he'll bring it to me.
Through prayer. You connect, you ask God to connect you. So, but you need to listen to the voice of God because
Uh-huh.
that's what you're searching for her.
Uh-huh.
You pray and then you can connect with her physically.
Well, you don't know.
yeah, everybody finds clarity through different ways, right? And
You
so
don't
some
know. It's
people find
open.
it through religion or your belief system, and some people find it through connecting with others, and some people find it through connecting with themselves. And so whatever it is that you're
True.
struggling with, that you need clarity on, I would really dig deep into how it is that you view the world, and seek out those people. If it is through religion or belief system, then that's how you're going to connect and find clarity. If it isn't in a different way, that that could be it too, by connecting with people or surrounding yourself with amazing people who will inspire you to just like believe the way that Grant's one friend just believed in, like the wonderfulness of the world. And so I think that clarity really comes as like lessons in our lives, and also as we really truly begin to understand ourselves.
Yep, that's it. That's great. That's really well put. So there we have it. So seeking clarity is the key to happiness, to the path you need to take, even if it's a trial and tribulation that faces you. At least you know what it is to get through. And the sooner you get through it, the better, because there's nearly always a beautiful rainbow at the other end of it. And that's my words of wisdom.
Thank you so much, everyone. For me as well, clarity is really, really important. Is key that opens doors to purpose. It helps you know who you are, where you are going, what matters, what to release in life, and what to pursue. And it takes you off distraction. You're no longer controlled by fear. You are no longer trapped by confusion. You become focused, you become peaceful, you become powerful. So today, I hope you guys will choose clarity, you choose truth, you choose purpose, and choose direction. Like a grand Amanda and I, that's what we have chosen in life. If you're watching us on YouTube, please do subscribe. On our Facebook, we have two groups, Ngozi Talk Shows and Unique Billionaire Mindset. Please do join those two groups, be part of the family. And if you want coaching, please do go to the website to get in touch with Amanda and Grant and I. Sign up on the website, and I'll get back to you with whoever you want coaching with. Live with grace, and God bless you guys. See you tomorrow.